Hey, what's up, everyone? Trying something a little new. I know I have a lot of firearms enthusiasts who watch some of these videos I make, but I'm going to try and gear some of the videos I make towards people who are pretty new to firearms. I know a lot of you probably know quite a bit about firearms. Maybe you've been shooting for years and years and years, and it's something that you've always been around since you were a kid. But there's also a lot of new people. When I was younger, I didn't shoot firearms. My family wasn't into it, and it's something I became very interested in after I had already entered adulthood. So at that point, I had to teach myself a lot of stuff. And one of the places I would go to learn a lot of stuff was YouTube. Plus different firearms sites and blogs and all that good stuff. So what I'm planning on doing is, in addition to some of the regular, gun, knife, coin, metals videos that I make now, prepping, all that good stuff, I'm going to throw a series in titled like Guns 101, and then follow that with kind of like a quick video on just some of the basics. Some of the things that I might have wondered, years back when I was first getting into this. So if it's something that you're kind of bored by, well, that's fine. Wait for something else that catches your eye. But if you're kind of new, you might enjoy some of these things. And even if you are just a little bit above basic, you might kind of glean some information from it. So it might be useful for you. Anyway, today I'd like to talk about single action revolvers versus double action. So, and again, I don't look at me as someone presenting themselves as an expert. I'm just a guy who likes guns. Anyway, so single action guns, revolvers, started in the late 1800s. It was like the big technology. And this is an example of a single action revolver. This is a modern one. This particular one is different than the ones in the 1800s. It has a transfer bar for safety, and like I said, it's a bit different, but it's like a modern version of something like that you would have seen. Anyway, with a single action revolver, if you pull the trigger, nothing happens. See the hammer? Hammer doesn't move. Cylinder doesn't spin. The cylinder's locked up tight. Hammer stationary. Nothing happens. Okay? Now, with this one, this is a double action revolver. And these guns are clear, by the way. Now, I want you to notice something. When I pull the trigger, the hammer is going back, the cylinder is turning. Now, watch that again. Hammer goes back, cylinder turns. Okay? That's double action. Now, if I wanted to, I could pull this hammer back, and look what happens to that trigger. It goes all the way back. Very, very short trigger pull. And then, as you can see, hammer goes forward. So again, keep your eye on the cylinder here. So you pull the hammer back, and you see that the revolver indexes to the correct position. You get this really, really short trigger pull. There you go. Now, with the single action, you cannot shoot the gun unless you pull the hammer back first. So again, this gun is also cleared. So what you would do is pull the hammer back. Now I want you to notice something. When I pull this hammer back, the trigger moves back and the cylinder turns. Watch that. You see the trigger is going back, the cylinder is turning. So now you're seeing the cylinder in the correct spot, and we have this really, really short trigger pull. Now watch this. You pull the trigger, fires. Okay? So once more, you pull this back. So by pulling this, you're rotating that cylinder. You're moving the trigger back, and you have a very, very short, crisp trigger pull. The other different thing about these guns is the way you load them. Now, with modern revolvers, or I should say most modern revolvers, double action, you'd have some kind of a switch here. Press that over, and then you can push the cylinder out, and the cylinder swings open. And then what you can do there is just, load your 5 or 6 or 7 rounds. Most would have 5, most small revolvers will have 5 rounds A larger revolver would have probably 6, but there are some with 7. Some rim fires, 22 and 22 Magnum would have 8 to 10. So load that up, you put it back in, and then some turn clockwise, some turn counterclockwise. Now, the single action is pretty different. This actually has a loading gate. Okay, so you pull the loading gate to the side, and you just put a round in. Then after you put a round in, you twist it, you put another round. So you can see that. Twist it, put another round. And you twist it and you put another round. And you turn it, another round. Turn it, another round. And this holds 6 rounds. Now you might notice that I just opened this loading gate up. Just like this. With some, you'd actually have to pull the hammer back a little bit to a notch. Basically, if you have like the traditional like Colt single actions, which I do not have because they're pretty expensive, I believe there was 4 notches. I could be wrong on that. Don't hold me to that, but there will be no test, so don't worry. So what you would have to do is actually pull this back to a certain spot before you can open up the loading gate. I do have a rim fire that's like that, and then it kind of freewheels this. Now, when you're done shooting, you just open the loading gate, and then it has this this bar right here. It's an ejection rod, and let's see. Let's get this all. What is going on here? There we go. I had to line it up correctly. So then what happens is you have your empty cases here. You press that, the ejection rod fires out, the case gets knocked out. Then there's another one, there's another one, there's another one, and that's how you empty it, and you go around and make sure all your cases are out. With this one, this is pretty easy. On this one, you just open it up, you'd have your empty cases in here, and then you can press up on the ejection rod. And then when you push it up, this ends up getting pushed up, and all your cases will fall out. Sometimes you could just kind of go like this, they'll just fall out in your hand. Sometimes they need a little bit of help, they might swell a little bit, and press that. So, there's a lot more to each firearm. I mean, every firearm has a lot of their own details, but these are basically the basics. If you tend to like an older style gun, single action is really nice to have. If you're looking for a compact concealed carry gun, you're definitely going to want to go for the double action because for one thing, it's a lot faster to pull off 5 or 6 rounds in double action, and you have the bonus of being able to fire in double action. And with most of them, if they have a hammer, because not all double action guns have a hammer. Some double action guns do not have a hammer. They're hammerless because if it has like a big spur trigger like this, it could get caught on the draw. With something like this is a very small hammer, very nondescript, so this one's not too big a deal. But some don't even have this. They have like a concealed hammer that goes right in this opening, and you only see it when you pull the trigger in double action. Okay? Like I said, this is kind of a typical setup for like a concealed carry gun. Now with single action, some of the really popular calibers would be, this one's in 44 Magnum. Some of the popular ones would be 357, 38, 44 Colt is a very popular one for like, cowboy action shooting and whatnot. And then we have the 44 Magnum, which shoots the 44 Special. This particular one is the Ruger Super Blackhawk. Some people use that for handgun shooting and whatnot. It's pretty good for that because it has a fairly long barrel. I believe it's 7.5 inches, which generates a decent amount of velocity for a handgun. But anyway, those are just the basics. I think this will be pretty good for you to get a starting point. And if you are here and you're learning, welcome to the community. Welcome to the channel. And, keep searching around, keep learning more. Have a good one.